Salemakers la mette in mezzo, bella tiro, gol! Luka Modric ha segnato Luka, ecco il gol del maestro.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan podcast. I'm your host Oli Fisher, joined once again by Anthony Torgrud.
The inevitable. Still sick. Well, I don't know. I'm in the downward spiral. I just got all the, still all the stuff in your throat, but feeling physically better. I could probably walk again. Yeah.
That's always good.
I always could walk. I realized that was a weird statement. I wasn't like my deathbed. It was like a joke on I don't run, but I feel like I could go back outside and play.
You've just been sat in that chair for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Just not moved. Yeah, I must admit, I think I'm back to 100% now. It's been a battle. I swear down, everyone I know has had something over the past few weeks. Whether it's a new bout of the Rona, that's been spoken about. But there were a load of England fans who came back from Latvia, which is where me and my girlfriend went to watch the game a couple of weeks ago, and literally everyone in this chat was like, "Yeah, I'm wiped out." So, yeah, maybe something went around there as well.
Water.
Yeah, something in the water. We got a bit of a busy ep this time. We've got a game to recap and one that did not go in our favour. We're going to deep dive into the Friday night game against Pisa, which of course ended in a 2-2 draw. And then we've got a couple of really big games coming up. Atalanta away from home on Tuesday night. We're recording this on Monday. And we have Roma at San Siro on Sunday night. So a little bit of I'm not going to call it season defining, but it's like an early statement, I guess, of where we're at is coming up in these two games, especially after the Pisa game. There is a bit of a duty there to respond. So before we dive in to talking about the games, do a little plug for the Substack here. You can see the founding members scrolling across the bottom if you are watching the video version of the pod. We thank all of our founding members for their support, hoping to add more names, which I will read out. I'll read out new founding members. But yeah, cheers to those guys for their support over on the Substack, where you can find content such as the most recent pub chat, which went out yesterday with Lorenzo and Stefano, where they did a bit of an analysis of how Allegri's second spell at Milan has gone so far, the various aspects, tactical, man management, that kind of thing, and of course the results and how we're shaping up from an early season standpoint. Stefano's doing his instant reactions after the full-time whistle. He did a 10-minute quick hit on the Pisa game. Obviously, the frustration of dropped points. And yeah, that seems to be pretty well received so far, the instant reaction videos that we're doing there, just to get something out while, emotions can be running high. Isaac's most recent bonus article, because there's now doubt about whether Milan-Como will be played in Australia due to a bit of pressure from La Liga cancelling the Villarreal-Barca game being played in Miami. Isaac dives into the potential alternative venues if they are forced to play the game in Italy. Some that have been mentioned before and others that are just logical candidates. He goes through the merits of each of the stadiums that would be an alternative. And the most recent bonus podcast that we did Serie A Panorama. Had a little look around the league at some of Milan's rivals, the surprise packages so far in 2025-26, and how we think that's going to affect things in the coming weeks, and especially in relation to some of our predictions, which were way off the money as so far a little bit off the money, shall we say. Go find that on the Substack. You try 7 days for free. And yeah, okay, right. Let's do it. Big chance, this one. Big chance. Playing Friday night, the first game of the weekend, an opportunity to go, albeit temporarily, 4 points clear at the top of the league, knowing that Napoli played into the next day. It was a chance to basically lock up top spot for another week ahead of, as mentioned in the intro, big 2 games coming up for us here. Zachary Atakame needed for a 95th minute equaliser and a 2-2 draw. I mean, look, said in the preview, the Cremonese game probably tells us not to underestimate newly promoted teams, because for a lot of these guys, it's going to be the game of their lives coming to San Siro and playing against us. The opportunity to put the spanner in the works, to play a deep block, to frustrate us. I just didn't see the game going this way when Leao scored so early. I thought the one thing we needed was that early goal just to settle things down, and then we can manage the game from there. We did not.
Yeah, it was the 6th minute, another very deep goal from Leao, 2 in a row. Well, technically he scored a penalty in between that, but you know what I mean. 2
Yeah.
consecutive games where he scored almost the exact same goal, and I'm really thinking, damn, he's on fire. He's coming back. He's filling in for Christian, who's hurt right now, and we're not missing a beat. Like things are going, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, Pisa didn't do anything in the first half.
Nope.
When well, I shouldn't say that. I think they had a shot or two. They had actually one where I think Mike made a big save. They took a shot from deep as well, but really we could have had 2 or 3 in the first half. We were constantly pressing, constantly attacking, and you know, you can say what you want about Santiago. He obviously missed chances again. It's at this point we're beating a dead horse. It's I don't even we move on from that. Yeah, he did his thing again, which is nothing. But Leo had more chances that he could have put away. There was one where he hit the crossbar, and I can't remember if that was before they scored or not, but hit the crossbar. The point is, there were opportunities to go 2-0, 3-0 before the break.
Yeah.
But even at halftime, 1-0 up, I'm thinking, yeah, this is pretty routine. We'll get another one, and we'll call it a day later on. Then they bring on everyone's favorite nemesis, Juan Cuadrado. Thinking, I didn't know he was there.
Yep.
I hate this guy. And then it was just a strange series of events, you know. And look, and I've cried enough about the handball penalty in the chat, but here we go again. It was a handball, right? Clear as day, handball. You can't have your arm outstretched and then get hit, but it was just one of those moments where, you know, De Winter was, and it technically wasn't a free kick, was it? That one Cuadrado, or it was, but he wasn't the guy who took the free kick. It was like layoff or whatever. But so he's in the wall, and when he does the layoff, he kind of pushes himself off of whoever was next to him. I don't remember. But he's looking at that guy, and he pushes off, and it's slight, but it's enough to where his arms, you know, extended. And then they kicks the ball right at his arm. And it's one of those things where you're like, you just feel shitty about it because it's a handball.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you're just like, hold on, I wasn't ready yet. Like it's just one of those weird ones. You know, it feels bad. You know,
it's not egregious.
It's the right call, but it just felt like that's a shitty thing to give against the run of play, against everything. But it is a penalty, of course. And Juan Cuadrado steps up. He takes it, sends Mignon the wrong way. I believe this is 16 straight penalties. He is not saved. So
yeah, he saved 1 in 16, but yeah.
Okay, 1 in 16.
It's not good. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit about the first half because we sort of do our running commentary thing as we're discussing the game in the chat and things like that. And I was really frustrated with our first half performance because I thought that after the early goal, we had an opportunity to kill things off before the interval and to be able then to manage minutes for some key players, you know, because the squad's pretty short at the moment due to injuries and things. Would have been nice to be able to give Modric a bit of a rest and, you know, just various things that you can do to ease some of the burdens going into two big games in the space of a few days. And I thought that our play generally was pretty sloppy. Even after we scored, they were letting us have the lion's share of the ball. As you said, they did very little barring one long shot. But we never executed. And I think that, you know, it did feel a little bit like some of the games last season where it's like you can. I don't think that we were awful in the first half. That's not what I'm saying. I think we still created enough to put that game to bed. But it's just sort of a bit lethargic, a little bit imprecise. As I said, just a bit sloppy. Like, they were there for the taking. It was a pretty timid performance. And if we'd have been 2 or 3 goals up at half time, it just makes things so much easier. And when you don't put a team away, which we did not, and there's only a 1-goal margin in terms of your lead, you leave yourself open to something like that. One freak incident where all of a sudden the game's level and then you've got to start chasing it again. And that is what happened. So yeah, at half time, I wasn't thinking the job's done here. I was thinking we have left this game open, and we've only got ourselves to blame if things go tits up from here. And yeah, they did. I thought it was unfortunate for Cone de Winter, who obviously was the one who gave the penalty away. It was his first league start of the season. He comes in for Tomori, and generally don't think he did an awful lot wrong. But it's just, when a moment like that happens, his thing is with that penalty as well. It's a shot from range, so it's hard to tell if that was going in or not because of how far from goal it actually hits him. It's right near the edge of the box, really. But he's also in the process of bringing his arm back in. As you said, his arm's outstretched because it's natural movement, and he is in the process of bringing his arm back in. He just doesn't quite get enough of it in. I've seen a lot of people who were saying straight up it wasn't a penalty. I think it was. I think you've got to give something like that, and we would want it given if it was for the other team. It's just unfortunate the timing of it. As I said, it's not like he's gone diving in recklessly and made a challenge that he doesn't need to make. It is just an extension of the arm, and a long shot twats him from 25 yards out. And then, Maignan with the penalties. Now, I think we put a tweet out with the video which shows his last 16 penalties. And you get a bit of pushback for it, sort of saying it's not his fault that the penalties are being given up and stuff like that. I understand that.
Yeah.
He's saving well below the average rate of what a goalkeeper should, though. You say that. But it isn't that, because, you could face 15 brilliant penalties where they put them in the top corner. My issue with what Maignan's doing at the moment is that he's committing way too early, one side or the other. If you look back at those penalties, and as I said, that we tweeted out the compilation, rightly or wrongly, it was just something that we wanted to draw attention to. And there was a repetitive theme, which was that he made it very easy for the penalty taker to choose the direction to go, because he'd almost committed well before they'd taken the spot kick. And that was the case for Cuadrado. Yes, it's a good pen. We said the same with Leao against De Gea. It's a good penalty if you score it, no matter how powerfully or weakly you roll it. But Cuadrado thumps that in, and Maignan not even close to it, dives the other way. But then I thought, generally speaking, we didn't really get rattled by that. We sort of set about trying to get the lead back in the right way. There was that really nice bit of play between it was Fofana who then backheeled it through to Leao's run, and he checked back onto his right foot. Has to score there. Why is he trying to put it in the roof of the net? You hit it low and hard. The keeper isn't moving. It's that close range. And, we've spoken quite a bit about our general struggles in front of goal and not taking chances. But I think, if you hit the post from distance, you can say, as we have done a few times, you can say that's unlucky. But I think at that range, and with the play that led up to the goal, the position Leao finds himself in, and the form Leao's in, he scored 3 and 2. You expect him to bury that. And then when it doesn't go in and it hits the top of the bar, you're like, oh shit, maybe this just isn't our day.
Yeah, and there were a few other chances. There was one where Leao just slow rolled it to Nkunku, who was on a break, and he was in on goal. I mean, that I thought for sure it was a goal. I was shocked that it was saved. Live, I thought he was going to take it at the right time. Of course, he didn't. He waited, took an extra step, and then shot it right into the defender. There was also Salmakers from a corner that was like super deep that I believe was saved, and it was a fantastic save. There was Gabia from a corner, his header, which, it was on target. It was a bit weak, but it was on target, and a header on target from a corner tends to be a goal, right? They're hard to save. So, there were the opportunities early. Going back to the penalty real quick, there's just, you mentioned a lot of people are saying it's not a penalty. And I think people forget that they changed it to where there's no interpretation inside the box. It's, if it hits the arm, it's a penalty, right? They took out anything. Now, the only exception is if it's glued to your side.
Yes, and it wasn't at that moment.
It wasn't. It was heading there, but it wasn't. And that's why it feels harsh, because, he wasn't reaching for it. He wasn't doing anything.
He's actively trying to avoid it in what he's doing,
Yeah.
But
and the only other thing I could think of is, like, you make it to where, well, if you shoot right at where the arms are in the wall, then if it hits an arm, it can't count because you intentionally shot at an arm,
Mhm.
But which like it feels scummy, but like that he's like, okay, well they're gonna break away, they're gonna jump, and I'm gonna find a hole here. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And obviously he was laid off, so it wasn't a free kick right at their arm, but that's
To
why it
counter,
feels bad,
it does feel bad, yeah, you're right. And as I say, it's more unlucky than egregious. But I think you can also make the counter argument that maybe that shot's going right in the top corner. So,
Yeah, maybe.
the fact he's blocked it with an arm has potentially stopped a goal. I'm not saying that it should therefore be a red card or anything daft like that. Those should be reserved for like handballs on the line that are blatant. However, yeah, you could say we've no idea where that shot's going. It could be going in, and it could have been heading for a goal. So he's got to give it. He's got to give it.
And the other reason why it feels harsh is because there was no card given. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't intentional. He just got unlucky, but you're still giving it. And I don't know, when it's against the run a play like that, it hurts. But like you said, we didn't collapse. We didn't even bounce back with like extra fire. It was still very methodical, almost slow in build up, very Allegri-esque, which in my opinion is a good thing. That says we're not going to break from the game plan. We know how to win, and we're just going to keep executing the way we can. And we had the chances. We should have won.
Yeah, we should.
We should have.
Yeah, we should. Allegri said something really interesting in his press conference, which I've literally just done before hopping on here. He said, if we're to draw that game, it has to be 1-1, not 2-2. And I kind of agree with that notion. It's like we're knocked back by the equaliser, but there's still over 35 minutes left of the game, and we really did get on the ascendancy then, all the missed chances that we've just mentioned. But you can't allow yourself to get caught up so much in the chaos that inside the final two, what was it, like the 86th minute, you find yourself a goal down. That's when you're getting back to areas like, I think of that Spezia game with the Macias disallowed goal. Was it Macias or was it Rebic?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then they go up the other end and they score because you can commit too much. And yeah, I mean, this goal to put them 2-1 up was a little bit mental. I think you almost need to. I want to mention it in conjunction with the equaliser because I think two refereeing wrongs even themselves out here. That's
Agreed.
Sort of where I'm at with it. But yeah. It's Moreo, the Pisa forward, just completely wipes Gabbia out. It's a long ball. I just don't understand what they've seen / not seen to not give anything there.
It's crazy. I mean, I think the thought is the ball wasn't going there, right? Like it was still going forward. I don't think either Gabbia or that forward were going to receive that ball. It was always going to the player that received it, and I don't remember his name, so I apologize. But I mean, it's right in front of him. What, like, I don't understand.
Admittedly, it's a still image, so it doesn't necessarily show the true dynamics. But it's like in any area of the field, surely if you wipe a player out off the ball and you stop them having any part in being able to defend our goal, I just don't understand how that's not a foul.
Yeah,
he's not even looking.
Exactly. When you change the defense's formation from a 2v1 to tackling one guy with your shoulder through his back to make it a one-on-one, that drastically changes things. And it is a foul in the build-up. 100% this goal should not have counted. Atakame should have followed his man as well. This still was avoidable for a goal outside of the foul because of Atakame. And I will also say when there's an angle of the foul where it's the most egregious, but it's also the angle that shows how poorly Mike did on this save. Not that I want to hammer home Mike's fault, because I think overall he's one of the best shot stoppers I've ever seen. He just is really bad at penalties and near post. You just kicked me out of the studio.
Yeah, I meant to remove that. There we go. Sorry. Yes.
All good. But yeah, I think when you see it, it goes between his legs as he's dropping.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be happening.
Bit slow off his line.
Yeah, I think he was shocked by the Gabbia thing. I mean, everyone pointed and was like, "Hey, what the hell's this?" And rightly, you assume, okay, this is getting called back, but it didn't. And that's why you have to play till the whistle. You have to never let your man run just because you see a foul at the Kame. You got to make the save, even if you think it's not going to count. You have to make the save. But we didn't, and it counted, and it shouldn't have, but that's okay. because you should play to a position where an error doesn't change the game. Now,
Yes,
an error can, and it sucks, and it shouldn't, but ultimately an error also saved this game because Atacama then has a world-class equalizer. I mean, first-time touch from 25, 30 yards out, but look at that. We have 4 players offside blocking the vision of the goalkeeper, and you know they were blocking it because on the replay from behind Atacama, you see 2 of our defenders jump out of the way of the ball.
Yeah, literally.
Meaning they're literally blocking it. It's like, this doesn't count. This is offside.
Look where the keeper is there, right? He's
Yeah.
basically hugging the post that the ball hits and goes in. He's like 2 yards off the, I guess it's the right post as he's shooting at it, but the goalkeeper's left post. And as you see there are at least 4 players of ours on that are in an offside position. As you say, fires it through the crowd. 2 players jump out the way of it. The keeper is completely dumbfounded by it, and he just sees the ball hit his post and then go into the back of the net.
Look at the goalkeeper's neck. He's literally trying to see around Tomori, or not Tomori, whoever that is. He just can't see. His neck is tilted.
I think that's Pavlovic, De Winter, and Fofana. Yeah, that are stood. And I can see Gabby there on the left side. He's not interfering. I think you can make a solid argument that Pavlovic isn't interfering either because the line of the shot doesn't go through there. But him and... It might be De Winter and Fofana who are the ones that jump out the way of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, as you say, I mean, if that isn't interfering, then I don't know what is. It's like a screenplay. It evened itself out. And it's so blatant, that one. Because you see some that are like it's subjective, right? The level of interference for an offside play sometimes, unless they're like they've actually bumped the keeper or whatever. It is often subjective in terms of line of sight. But that looked so blatant that I was like, that has to be a makeup call for the goal.
That was my thought as well. It is. That's what it is.
It's bad.
I always look back to that Napoli game, and it was either Giroud or Kessie who scored, and the other was lying down, not at all blocking the sight, but in an offside position, and they counted it as offside, and that was the most ridiculous interpretation of that rule ever.
He couldn't interfere with play because he was laying on the floor
with the Napoli player on top of him, literally being forced down. It was insanity.
Yeah,
but,
that was Kessie who scored and Giroud was laying down. But having seen that, and then you see something like that, you think, hang on, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. And I think Bader's onto something. I have noticed every big game I've watched has been a new referee. So I don't know what happened to the old guard, but they're not being given our games anymore.
They're all getting 1 week suspensions, I think, for making errors.
But no, they are making errors too.
Allegri did make a comment on the refereeing episodes, if you want to call it that, in the press conference. He made a comment on the fact that there's a lot of young referees who have been promoted to Serie A for this season, and you do need to keep them coming in, for obvious reasons. Some retire, some aren't good enough and need replacing. But he said, look, we all make mistakes. Young players make mistakes. So you've got to expect young referees to make mistakes too, especially when they're like jumping from refereeing, say, a Serie C game to a Serie A game in terms of the speed of it, the intensity, just everything. It must be like a different sport. I understand that. But that's what the VAR's there for. They get a second look at it and a third look and a fourth look, and yet they're still not reaching the right decisions. I think the VAR room in Italy in particular is where the problems are at the moment. They are not helping out the referees in the way that they should be. I felt a bit sorry for the referee on Friday night, and I felt sorry for referees so far. Sometimes you get stubborn referees where they get called over to the VAR screaming like looking for anything to not overturn their original decision. But I think that especially these younger ones who are perhaps refereeing Milan for the first time or a game at San Siro for the first time, they need that help. They do need that help, and they're just not getting it. I thought that was an interesting point. Here's the stats from the game. And I think it's worth noting that Pisa 1.05 XG there. 0.9 something of that is for a penalty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had 2/3 of the ball exactly, 1.74 XG, and it felt a bit higher. 4 big chances to 2, 20 shots to 8, 7 shots on target to 2, 6 corners to 2. It's you look at that stat line and you think we should have won the game. And I do think on the balance of play, we had the chances to take that. But while ever you leave the game open like that, you can drop points.
Well,
We should also mention the Salamakers chance right at the end. I mean, if
That's what I
he'd
was
have
gonna say.
buried that, the place would have exploded. Like,
almost did, dude.
yeah,
Like I was. Phew. I mean,
yeah.
to dribble past 4 or 5 players the way he did into the box, it's got to be a goal, man. I don't want to attack him because I think he did great, and to even be in that position at that time was incredible. But what are you doing, toe poking it far post?
Yeah, he should have just hit it low and hard at the near side.
It's not like this is Inter who can stop you at any moment. Like you beat everyone, take it on. And
That's,
it's still a hard shot because everything's happening so fast, and there really isn't a lot of room because you're at that the inside line. What is that? This 6-yard line or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but fuck,
It's kind of wild, really, isn't it? When you look at that, because I saw some people afterwards saying he should have squared it. I'm not necessarily sure that's true, because if you lay that back to Fofana, people are saying because he's sort of there on the right. Don't do that, yeah. First of all, because I think it could potentially be blocked, looking at where the defender is there, or also with it being in a more central location, there's maybe a chance that Fofana just shoots straight at the keeper or whatever. But you're in that position, you've got to hit that near post.
Yeah.
You've got to. And I understand adrenaline in the moment. He's just burst past 6 defenders to get into that position. He probably wants it to be a really cool outside of the boot / toe poke finish, far corner. But yeah, you've got to hit the target there.
I don't think he's thinking about the finish at all. I think he's thinking, holy shit, I could win us this game in the 99th minute, a game that only had 6 minutes of added time. We just scored an equalizer 2 minutes ago from 50 yards out. What am I doing here? I just beat 6 people. He's not even thinking about the finish. This is all adrenaline, all nerves.
That's it, yeah.
I don't want to say he crumbled under pressure because that's not really fair to say, but yeah, man, he just hit it, and he hit it wrong. It is what it is.
It's unfortunate. That would have been a remarkable moment with that, and it would have been getting out of jail a little bit. There's no two ways about it. You can't leave a result like that up in the air until the closing stages. But it means that we've now taken 1 point out of 6 available against Cremonese and against Pisa, 2 newly promoted sides at home. It's not good enough. Do you think there's a bit of a mentality issue within this squad, like we've seen previously, where they underestimate certain opponents? Or because my beef with this is not like when we'd really struggled to break down low blocks previously. Teams would come and camp out and we just had nothing. We couldn't get in behind them. We were struggling to get dangerous shots off. I think we are creating the moments in every single game.
Yeah.
It's just,
this game is unique, and you feel hard done because, okay, take out our equalizer that shouldn't have counted. Take out their second goal that shouldn't have counted. And then what is it? A wonder, or not even a wonder, but a fantastically out goal and a penalty that you feel hard done by. So you take out a penalty because that's not an every game incident, right? That's Inter had a good defensive game. He just got hit in the arm. And all of a sudden you're talking about a 1-0 victory with a game where you feel like, we probably could have scored 3 or 4, but we just missed our chances. So I don't think this is I don't think there's any issue with this game on paper, to be honest, other than you got a little unlucky, and that's going to happen a few times a season. It's just really shitty that it was when we were in first against the team in 20th. That's just what it comes down to for me, at least. I don't have anything negative to say about the team for this because I don't think anyone is blatantly at fault. I mean, Atacama didn't track his man for the second one. Mike could have done better, but it's like...
And Pavlovic was pretty odd for that second goal too. I did worry, though, that he was just going to chop him down from behind and it'd be a red card and a penalty or whatever. But he just pokes it through Maignan legs. But no, you're right. I think you're right. I think the circumstances of this game make it feel really bad. The chance to put pressure on the teams around us, playing first v bottom of the table at home. It literally could not be an easier game on paper. But I think we just shown a couple of shortcomings there that, for me, I know I keep saying it, I just don't see us being in the Scudetto fight, or certainly not being favourites, let's put it that way. And I just think that, while ever we're capable of a game like that, yeah, it just raises a few doubts.
We still haven't seen our actual full power starting lineup.
That's true.
Like we haven't seen Leao and Pulisic play together once this season.
With Pulisic, Rabiot, and Jashari over Fofana, say we're probably talking about a different result there, aren't we? I also think, and I said this at the time in the preview when there was some talk, I think, of there being changes to the defence. I wouldn't have taken Tomori out. I just think you've got to stick with a defensive unit that's working very well. And again, I don't think De Winter had an absolute disaster. The penalty was unlucky. I'm not going to berate him for that. But I just think it changes certain things, in terms of the dynamics. All of a sudden, Gabia and Pavlovic have a different player next to them. So maybe there's some more uncertainty about whether to shuffle across or whatever. And you see that with the second goal that Pisa scored, we looked all at sea, and maybe that's not a coincidence. I don't know. Top of the match,
Modric, Leao, one of them.
Yeah, bit of a tough one, really, isn't it? That I'm going to say Modric. He looked really pissed off to get the Player of the Match award, and I like that.
Yeah.
His
comment, he's like, all due respect to Pisa, but we shouldn't be losing these games. Modric is a winner, man. The fact he was so pissed off when they stopped him to give him the trophy and take a photo, he rolled his eyes and he said it in Spanish. He's like, player of the match. Like he was pissed. He was so funny.
Yeah. I kind of like the humility of that as well, but I think that shows the levels and the standards that he's going to drive. Flop of the match, few candidates.
It's hard to say at the comment because he scored the equalizer, but because I don't count the equalizer as a legitimate goal, but I don't count the one he fucked up on as a legitimate goal either. So I don't know, man. Mike, because I think he did bad on the penalty. And he could have done better on the second goal. So.
Yeah, if I were going to be really edgy here, and I don't see the need to be, so this isn't my pick, but I think you can make a case for Leao because he scored that goal, right? And it was a lovely goal. I think he means the shot, but he hits it low and hard, far post from a corner taken shot. Goes in, lovely goal. After that, very wasteful. I thought, and in situations where, and it's not his fault, he scored 3 and 2, he's doing his job, but in situations where the other forwards just aren't scoring, and we're probably not going to get the goals from midfield in this particular game, you got to take those chances. We spoke about the one where he hit the crossbar, and I think there were other moments where he could have done better too, but it isn't him. I'm going to go with Santi Jimenez. Like it's getting towards being charity stuff now. Where before you can say he's working hard, he's doing things that are going unnoticed off the ball, he's creating space for others. I think he is important in the press, and I think sometimes his hold-up play is decent, but a striker, the currency they will be judged on is goals, and he has not scored a league goal in months. You can't hide that fact, and if you can't score, you can't even get a chance for yourself in a game against bottom of the league at home. I think it's time to see Nkunku.
It's crazy because we haven't had our starting strike pair all season. So he has been gifted a start for now 8 games. And he hasn't taken one opportunity.
Yeah, I know. He's certainly, I feel like he was getting more chances that he was wasting in the early rounds of the season. He started 7 out of 8 games, so it's not like he hasn't had the minutes. But yeah, again, if you can't score in that game.
Yeah. I think he has the most big chances missed in Europe right now, or at least in the top 5 leagues.
He certainly was. He certainly was after I can't remember which game it was, but yeah, I mean, he's still created goals. He's won penalties. He won the penalty that should have won us that game at Juve. If we've got 2 points more, all of a sudden we're talking a bit more optimistically. Obviously won the penalty for the Fiorentina winning goal. So there's little things but it's just, those few positive aspects of his game seem to be dying out pretty quickly. And if you're not scoring the goals to compensate for that, like Giroud would be dreadful for the majority of games, but you would find a way to pop up with an important goal. And I think, with Jimenez, we've been looking at the antithesis of that. He's doing some useful things, but if you're not scoring, then it puts too much pressure on the others. He's our only natural striker. He has to find a way to score. Let's move on then. Atalanta away. They're boring now.
Yeah, they're boring, but
Pretty
I'm
boring.
not very confident for this one. It's still Atalanta. We still suck when we play them for whatever reason. I don't get it. So
Just generally.
yeah. But look, they've drawn 6 times. They're not very exciting draws. They're 1-1 or 0-0. There's no 2-2s in there. So if we score 2 goals, I think that's game over for them. And I think we could. I think Leao's still in good form. Do we get anyone back for this game on Tuesday? Probably not. It's just Tuesday.
Loftus-Cheek's the only one. Allegri said in the presser that Pulisic definitely won't be back for Roma, but they're hoping to have... Oh, Jashari's back in training on Wednesday, apparently. So he could be fit for the Roma game and then Pulisic for the Parma game just before the break. And we are apparently negotiating with the USA Federation to not send him to...
Oh, good.
Negotiating doesn't mean it's done. It's Fellaini making the call, so they probably tell him to fuck off. But yeah, I don't. Mad in it. I really hope he doesn't go because then we've got him at Milanello in the 2 weeks before the derby. But like, if you're gonna play him against Parma, they sort of have every right to call him up for the national team. Like,
Yeah.
I don't expect any special in dispensation.
Man,
Anyway.
maybe we don't play him for Parma then. Just say, yeah, he's doing
yeah.
That's
You should just turn it down.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Atalanta.
I don't have a big analysis for this one other than
No.
I don't expect a good game against this team ever. But they don't have Gasparini. It's a totally different squad. They are not a very good team this year. They have 2 wins, 6 draws, and 0 losses. So, at the very least, they are undefeated. Could we be the team to beat them? Yeah, 100%. Will we likely be another draw? Yes. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Loftus-Cheek doesn't it doesn't boost me a whole lot. And I don't think Ricci's been bad. I think I've seen a lot of people saying he's been awful, but I don't think that's true. I think we're just realizing how important Rabiot is. And you and I called it immediately, because we saw one game without Rabiot and then one game with Rabiot. And we said, oh, he's important. And now we've seen 3 games without Rabiot, and they've all been hard. 2 of them we've dropped points. So,
yeah, we really do miss him. And obviously Pulisic as well. But yeah, losing those 2 at the same time as part of that torrid international break has kind of derailed things a little bit. Although I suppose 4 points from 6 isn't the end of the world. I'm not particularly confident for this one. As mentioned, Atalanta, okay, they've only won 2 of 8, but to go unbeaten, you have to have some kind of resolve about you. So the first 2 games of this, I think they're in, is that 7th place? Yeah. The first 2 games of the season, draw at home to Pisa. Drawing against Pisa, we've been there. Parma away was a draw as well. And then they score 7 of their goals in 2 games. 4-1 at home to Lecce, 3-0 away at Torino. And you think, okay, wow, they've clicked pretty early there under Ivan Juric. I thought they'd have a bit of a drop-off in terms of at least the entertainment value of how they played because Juric is a more pragmatic coach. We saw that at Torino. And also, you get into sort of last chance saloon with him a little bit, I think, in terms of the last 2 jobs before this that he failed in. With Roma and with Southampton. But yeah, things are going okay there after 4 games, 2 wins, 2 draws. But then 1-1 draw away at Juve, not the end of the world. 1-1 draw at home to Como, 0-0 draw against Lazio, and most recently a 1-1 draw against Cremonese. So they're winless in 4 in the league. Obviously, they are in the Champions League and their results have been mixed. A 4-0 defeat to PSG first game. Probably no disgrace given we know what PSG are like. They beat Club Brugge 2-1 at home, and then they drew 0-0 at home with Slavia Prague in their most recent Champions League game. So yeah, they've just struggled for goals in recent weeks. Their top goal contributor is summer signing Nikola Krstovic with 2 goals, 3 assists. And CDK's got a couple of goals in the league too. Kamaldeen Sulemana, who they signed from Southampton in the summer, he's got a couple of goals, but they're pretty spread around. They've got 6 or 7 players who've got 1 goal apiece. So it's hard to know what the main threat is, really. Ademola Lookman, he's only started 3 times, but he hasn't hit the ground running just yet after that whole summer saga. I expect this to be it's going to go one of 2 ways in it. It's going to stay true to form, and it's going to be a 1-1 or maybe even a 0-0 or something, because two teams that are prioritizing defensive solidity at this point, or it's going to be an absolute barn burner. It could be 3 apiece, 3-2, whatever. I don't see an in between with this.
I don't see it being a barn burner. I see either a 2-1 victory or a 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? We could keep a clean sheet here. I don't know, man. I don't know. Atalanta's a team I never feel confident in. I'm trying to right now. I'm trying to talk myself into it. But it's one of those games, man. And I know that this is a totally different team. We've never played this team before. We played the last one. But those are the memories that stick in your head, right? And we haven't played it with this team of Milan either. So it's very different. I mean, this is basically a brand new matchup. But you're right. They play similar. I wonder if because Juric is, like you said, in the Last Chance Saloon, that maybe he says, guys, go for it. Play like this is one of those early games that we scored 4 in. Because if you look at our goal scoring and goals for and what is it? Goal difference. Jesus Christ. I don't know why that was so hard. The for and against is identical. They have one less goal for than we do, and they have one more goal against than we do, and that's it. And yet we're very different positions in the table because the distribution of where those goals came. So
yeah,
we're more consistent throughout in terms of goal scoring, whereas they were a load up front, but we're equally consistent in keeping them out. So it's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes defensively, I think. And I believe it'll be us. I think it'll be us.
What changes would you make? Would you bring Tomori back in and maybe Nkunku for Jimenez? Or are you keeping Santi out there?
I think I bring Tomori back, and I think I keep Santi.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I could see him winning another penalty in this match.
Possibly, yeah. I'm just looking at the team that Atalanta played against Cremonese, and it's a bit of a strange one, really. Kanasecchi in goal, yeah, whatever. Bellanova, who's probably better known as a wing-back, was playing right centre-back. Jim City, who I wanted us to sign in the summer as a bit of an experienced option who can play down the middle. He started 7 games for them in the league this season. He played as a middle centre-back. Isaac Hien as the left centre-back. Ederson, defensive midfielder, played at right wing-back. Zalewski played left wing-back. Paslic and Diron as the midfielders, and then it's De Ketelaere and Lukman behind Krstovic. But yeah, a bit of a strange right side of the defence there. And I think if they roll that out again, with Ederson and Bellanova playing quote unquote out of position, Leao could have a bit of fun in that area of the field. So that might be something to watch out for. Gazzetta did report this morning that they're thinking about bringing Kusunu back in to be the right-sided centre-back to try and basically do a job man marking on Leao. But yeah, I don't know. We'd have to see how that works.
One thing I've noticed, the draws began for Atalanta when they brought back Lukman. When they reintegrated him to the squad, which is abnormal.
You just know
he's going to pop off.
This is his breakout game,
Yeah, he's working on his fitness. So that's it.
I'm
going to predict 1-0 Milan. And it'll be
I really hope you're right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. This is the kind of game where I think Allegri needs to show. Like, if it was peak Allegri shithousing ball, whatever, I'd love it. Just get out of there with 3 points by any means. I'm not massively confident, though, and I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. And I think that we have to come from behind to get it. Let's hope you're right. Then Roma. Better talk about Roma quickly. As we always say with these previews, when there's a game in between, it's more difficult because we don't know what injuries we're going to pick up and things like that. I'll open with a hypothetical. If Jashari has got 4 days of full training under his belt, do you throw him in from the start for this one? Just as a bit of a wild card?
We haven't seen anything from him yet. So I'm nervous to give a guy fresh from injury. I don't know his fitness level. I mean, look, if they're saying he's ready to start, like, I trust that they know better than I do as someone who's never seen the guy. But I don't think you bring him in against the league leaders, I think they're joint top. I think they're in second right now. But
oh, yeah. Roma. Wow, what a mad season they're having, right? We talked about expecting a bit of a shift in style from Atalanta under Juric. Obviously, Atalanta lost Gianpiero Gasperini to Roma. So you're thinking, we know how Gasperini teams work. They're kind of front-loaded as well, Roma, in terms of their talent. You know, a lot of it's in the attacking end. Thinking they're going to be a really entertaining team, and it could be fun to watch them. Wow, couldn't be more wrong. What are they on? They've scored 8 and conceded 3 across 8 games so far.
Yeah.
They have won 4 games 1-0 already so far. Beat Bologna in round 1, 1-0. Pisa away, 1-0 in round 2. Lost 1-0 at home to Torino in the 3rd game. Beat Lazio in the derby, 1-0 in round 4. Then they beat Verona 2-0 after that. Fiorentina away 2-1. Lost 1-0 at home to Inter. And I'm not going to lie, I thought that would be the result back on 18th of October. I thought that would be a result that rocked them a little bit. Would be losing that sort of top of the table clash against Inter. They had chances in that game as well, man. Dovbyk misses a big one.
How do you pronounce his name?
Dovbyk.
Dovbyk?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was pronounced dog shit.
It is for this. Yeah, it was a bad one. A bad miss. But then they went and bounced back with a 1-0 win against Sassuolo, who've actually started the season pretty well. Dybala got the only goal there. And yeah, they play Parma in midweek before they play us. And then we've got Parma after that before the break. So yeah, interesting team, Roma. I just did not see this coming. I did not see them turning into Allegri's Juve.
Yeah, I thought they would be much lower in the table. I can say that confidently. I definitely didn't expect them to have the best defense in the league after 8 games. That's crazy. You know, hopefully it doesn't continue, because I think only once in the last 6 seasons, something like that, has the team with the best defense not won the league. So
it's like
need them to start conceding a bit more. Yeah.
It's a mad amount of seasons. It was Sarri's Juve were the last team to win the league with not the best defensive record, but I think it's like 1 in 14 seasons. So yeah, I mean, look, you got to kind of give credit where it's due, in the sense that to concede 3 goals across 8 games is mad.
It's impressive.
You know,
it's very
impressive. Yeah, but they. In sort of exchange for that, you might say, they're struggling to score as well. You know, 1 goal a game is the level of a relegation side. Like, that defense has had to hold up, otherwise they would be really struggling to win games. That being said, I feel more confident for this one than I do the Atalanta game.
Yes, absolutely. If Cheshire the only person back for this one, don't play him.
Yeah.
Santi did score against Roma last season, didn't he? Or no, he assisted Joao Felix against Roma.
Yes, he did. Yeah. That was in the cup game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was both of their debuts.
They both just came off the bench, hadn't they? And he put him through on goal and scored.
I think everyone will be up
everything was going to be saved.
Yeah. I think everyone will be up for this game. Leao especially. I always look back to our title defense season in January. We were 1-2 with Napoli, and we were 2-0 up against this team. I'm sitting there next to Bader. We're talking about, this shit is easy. Roma suck. Like, Napoli's got to collapse soon here. And then 2 goals in the last 4 minutes to equalize, and then we lost the next 6 games in a row. And it was like,
I was there. I was at that game. I witnessed the start of the meltdown firsthand. But yeah, bad memories, bad memes.
Yeah. So I think everyone will be up for it. Salamakers will want to show his old team, you should have bought me. I think Leao's going to say, you can't stop me. And I think Santi's going to think, okay, I performed against them last year. I could do it again. Maybe he gets a little something. Modric is always up for a big game, so we don't have to worry about him. And I think Mike will be wanting to show that he's the better of the two, because we've been linked with Svilar so many times as his replacement, that I think he'll be up for it. Or they'll want to be up for it. We'll see how it actually plays out.
Yeah, I think a lot of the mood going into this game will obviously depend on the Atalanta game. If we were to go there and get 3 points, then we are probably likely looking at another situation where we could win to go back top, or that's certainly a possibility anyway, depending on what the other results are. But yeah, just to kind of keep the momentum going at that point, and then Parma, and then the break, and then the derby. Like, this is a big stretch of games that we've got coming up. And yeah, if we win against Atalanta, I think we go into this with confidence and we're on the front foot from minute one. If it's a negative result for whatever reason, then I think that this game certainly looks more daunting.
The good news is we have one extra day of rest against Atalanta. We played Friday, they played Saturday. And then we have an extra day of rest against Roma, with us playing Tuesday and then playing Wednesday. So, that doesn't really play a big part in it, I think, most of the time, but it does add a little extra something. It allows us to, if we do our job, which we didn't do with the Friday game, it makes the teams around us and who have to play us next go, okay, now we have extra pressure to perform. So it might help us out.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Roma's team from the last game. I'm not going to lie, and this could age terribly, but it's not a team that strikes fear into me. Svilar in goal, Selic, Mancini, and Ndika as the three centre backs. Simicas and Lima at wing back. Manu Kone, I think, is pretty good. Cristante and Ainawi as the midfield three. They played Leon Bailey and Dybala up front in the Sassuolo game. Conscious there may have been a bit of rotation there because they lost in midweek against Victoria Plzen in the Europa League at home. And I thought that, after the loss to Inter, was going to fully derail them. But they did win this game 1-0. Being able to bring on Hermoso, Dovbyk, Matthias Sula, Lorenzo Pellegrini off the bench is good. I think they've actually got way more squad depth than what we do, especially with our injury problems at the moment. Sula's been the star so far for them. 5 goal contributions in the league, 3 goals, 2 assists. But aside from that, the only other player to have more than 1 goal contribution is Dovbyk, a goal and an assist. And that is because, as mentioned, they're really, really struggling to score. There are 5 players that have started every game for them: Ndika, Svilar, Mancini, Kone, and Cristante. So I think that's a large part of the reason that they're so solid defensively, is because they've got that spine is in place.
I will say I watched their game against Sassuolo yesterday. I turned it on around the 30th or so. So it was after the Dybala goal. And I don't know how the opening 20 minutes there went. But I can tell you that I really thought if Sassuolo weren't such a shitty side, they would have won that game. I just didn't see anything from Roma that said, this is a tough team. I feel like Sassuolo is, also a newly promoted side, but they're a known entity. So they'll be a tough game for us, of course, always are. But when I'm watching this game, the amount of times that Sassuolo would steal the ball away and then make a great run and then just not know what to do in the final third was endless. Or the amount of weird shots they took, or making a cross when it probably shouldn't have been, but they were always able to get in front of the ball, remove it from Roma. And honestly, I think they missed 2 or 3 really big chances where, to me, it was just Svilar stopped them. I don't think Roma was ever going to put that game to bed, just from the hour of it that I watched. But that leaves me feeling confident that they were kind of on the back foot, but they haven't played yet.
I think that's all fair observation. I think we're entering that point of the season. I think it was on the bonus that we kind of said it, but where the table starts to sort itself out, and you've got a big enough sample size there where teams stop over or underperforming their XG massively, luck starts to even out, that kind of thing. So it's a pretty big stretch of games for all teams that are involved. But I just look at Roma and them being the direct antithesis of everything we thought that they would be. And I just think that can't go on forever. They can't keep scoring the first goal and hang on every single time. Maybe they can. Maybe we're looking at a league-winning Roma side. But I'm not so sure. And as I said, I feel more confident for this than I do the Atalanta game, which is weird. And it probably won't play out that way. But I'm going to say that we 2-0 them.
Oh, wow. 1-0 to Milan.
Good. Hey, 2 1-0 wins in a row. We'd be turning into Roma if your predictions are right.
Everyone thought we would be,
Yeah. Right, I'm going to do one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Apologies for not doing more of them. As you can understand, when we've got 3 games to cover, we've got a little bit less time. This was actually asked last week and I didn't get to it. Ari197, knowing how Allegri plays and how the players are playing under him, if you could have one player from another Serie A team, who would it be?
Ooh.
So you could pick one out and drop them in. Someone replied to it and said Bonnie from Inter. And I guess there's the realistic element to that because we were linked in the summer and then didn't sign him. So it's like maybe we should have gone for him over not signing a striker. But I'm still not sold on him, to be honest.
Nah. I'd say Nico Paz.
Oh yeah.
Bring him in, man. He's that kid's a stud. Yeah, I know probably a striker is what we need, but realistically, when they're fit, it's going to be Leao Pulisic. So it doesn't matter who the striker is; they're not going to get many minutes. So I would say Nico Paz because he could at least be in the midfield and then just kind of be that roaming, attacking mid sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's been absolutely phenomenal as Nico Paz.
Yeah, like every goal I see, I'm like
4 goals, 4 assists. Yeah. I know I said this on whenever it was last week sometime, but I do wonder in an alternate reality if we'd have just spent all the Reinders money on him, like what would it would have been irresponsible. The midfield still needed rebuilding, but Rabiot came for like 7, didn't he, or a little bit more, and then Modric came on a free. So could you then just maybe not sign Jashari and
or not get him Cuckoo for 40 mil or whatever it was?
Yeah. I'm just looking at the top scorers here in Serie A, and I think your point is actually quite good about like what's the point in signing a striker if they're not going to play? There'd be a rotation option, and everybody was sort of clamoring for like Moise Kean over the summer. Mm-hmm. He's not up there in terms of top scorers at the moment.
Orsolini, isn't it?
Orsolini, yeah, he's got 5 in 8 for Bologna, but we don't play with a natural right winger, so I don't think it would necessarily be him. I don't know. I think I would have liked for us to have signed a more reliable wing back for the left side because Estupinian's having injury problems again. And I think Batazagi's been okay, but the jury's still out on him at the age of 19. Unfortunately, the best in the league is DiMarco. So I'd have to say we're going to rip the boyhood into fan out and put him on the left side, and we're going to be great. Don't know, maybe another centre-back. Again, I'm thinking Bastoni. If you put him in at left-sided centre-back over Pavlovic, we probably look an awful lot better. But that's a tough one, which is good, right? Because there's not tons that we change about this team. It's just a lack of depth. It's just us having 6-7 players on the bench and 3 of them are kids. We need a deeper squad when it comes to it. And when we're touch wood, when we're back in European competitions, it will have to be quite an expansive next summer window. But in the meantime, let's just hope it's enough for us to get through. We'll wrap it up there. Been your host, Ollie Fisher. Find me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher. AJ, cheers for joining.
See you guys whenever we do this next.
There'll be a new backdrop in a week because I move house on Friday.
Oh,
so
I think you meant red. I was like, oh, really?
No, I've not made a new background, but I'm hoping to get something a bit similar to your setup with some memorabilia in the background, some shirts and stuff I want to have better than this.
You want a sauna box?
Yeah. The amount of questions you get about that. Yeah, send that over to me, mate, please. That'd be great. Yeah. But yeah, we're back later this week with another bonus episode, back in a week's time to recap the Atalanta and Roma games. And yeah, in the meantime, have a fantastic week, everyone.